Hi, good morning to TG2 and to TG3. I hope that this here will help you to prepare sufficiently for your upcoming GIAA individual component. So for the upcoming lesson, you will be working on mapping your neighborhood, and it will be an individual task, and it will be 10 marks upon 30. So it's important for you to know very clearly what's expected of you so that you can carry out this task well when we meet again for our face-to-face lesson. Okay, so what exactly are you supposed to do? Do take note of the dates. So for 2TG2, because you will have a face-to-face lesson this coming Friday, you will be doing this graded task during lesson time on 18th of July. But for the Thursday classes, 2TG7, you are going to do this on the 24th of July when you see your teacher face-to-face. Okay, so there are two separate dates, but the task required is similar. Right, so what are you supposed to do on the day where you come to class for a face-to-face lesson? You are required to draw a map. This map here should be an area within walking distance of your home. Okay, so this here, my suggestion is please take this opportunity, this HBL period, to walk around your neighborhood, to explore your neighborhood, and to really identify places that fits this criteria. Okay, I'll tell you a bit more about what this criteria is. So if you find that it is quite challenging for you to spare the time to explore your neighborhood on foot, then you can walk around your neighborhood by using the Google Maps app or the onemap.gov.sg website. Okay, I will demonstrate this a little bit so that you know what to look out for when you're walking around your neighborhood or you are exploring online. Okay, so what are you supposed to map out? Because eventually when you draw your map, it's not as simple as just identifying the locations. There are some things specific to the map that you have to provide. Specific to the task that you have to provide. So when you draw your map, after you have drawn your map, you've identified the roads, the buildings, etc., etc. One of the important things that you have to include in your map is to label these facilities in black ink. So make sure that you have ink, black pen, you have green pen, and you have a blue pen. Okay, so you should have these easily available within your pencil case, but just remember to bring it along. Okay, so after drawing it, you are supposed to label what all these amenities are. For example, coffee shops that are near your home, parks, playgrounds, shops, schools, etc., etc. And then after that, annotate the function of this identified amenity. So for instance, if you have identified that you have a park near your home, you identify what is this function, right? What is this purpose of this park? So you can share who uses the place, what they do, and where do they do this activity. So that falls under your annotation. Okay, the next thing you do is to think ahead what exactly is a possible impact, right? So it could be an environmental impact, it could be an economic impact, or it can be a social impact. Can a location have 3 of these? Of course. Right? Can it have 2 of these? Of course. So for example, exercising in a park, we can see that this is a social impact, social cultural impact, because people get to make friends with each other and get to know each other better. So that is a social cultural impact. But could a park also have environmental impact? I'll leave you to think about that. Okay, so prepare this ahead of time so that when you come to class for that graded assignment, you're not thinking about it only when you are starting to draw, but you have some of these ideas in your mind already. Now, taking a look at the rubric, this here is with me currently, okay, but you can refer to this online so that you can see what are some basic requirements. So during the HBL period, you should, number 1, research your neighborhood to find out what are some of these places that fit the criteria that we've shared earlier, and from there identify these locations that contribute to long-term social, economic, environmental impacts in your neighborhood. Take photos of it. Okay, you can screenshot if you are using Google Maps or using OneMap, and upload it to Google Slides, right? So why do I say that you should upload it to Google Slides? That's so that you don't have to fumble and toggle between different platforms, different apps on that day itself. Everything is consolidated within a space, and it's much easier for you to make use of the time more efficiently. Okay, so for this task, I believe that you all be aiming for 8 upon 10. So how do you do this task well? You must first be able to label them accurately and making sure that it's easy to read, it is clear, the positioning of it is not messy, it's not haphazard. Okay, so the task here requires you to be very neat in your presentation. Okay, so if I have to summarize this, it requires neat presentation, Alright, I shouldn't see your map and I'll be wondering what exactly is this square representing, what this circle is representing. Alright, and the next part is that it has to add on significant value to the map. Okay, it has to be about thoughtful answers to show your understanding of whether the location is social, economic, environmental in terms of its benefits. Alright, so this matches this. Okay, now I will show you some examples of these maps or these places that you can include, that you can consider. Okay, but the annotation component will be up to you to think about and for you to elaborate on. So this here, since we've already given you this as a sample, we'll not accept this as an answer, okay, because this is just an example. Okay, so for instance, this may be the example of the neighborhood that I live in. So for example, if I stay here at block 988 over here, I may walk around my neighborhood during HBL day, and I may identify some of these places that may have social, economic, or environmental benefits. So some places that I've identified could be the sports center, okay, the park, petrol station or bus stop or car park, or the MRT, or the primary school or the secondary school, or even the polyclinic. Okay, so what I may choose to do is I will take a photo of it. Alright, so I've taken pictures from the internet. So this here is from Google Maps. Okay, so it could be a sports center, it could be a park, it could be a petrol station, it could be a car park. Okay, it could be MRT station, it could be a coffee shop near my home, it could be a bus stop near my home, it could be a primary school near my home or a secondary school near my home. The whole idea here is you must be able to link it. Don't just label these on your map, but you must be able to link it to how it contributes to this. Okay, so this component is important. You have to provide at least 3. So why we say at least 3? Because in case one of them is inaccurate, you have something else that can show your understanding, that you know what is an economic benefit, or what is a social benefit or an environmental benefit. Alright, so the more prepared you are, the easier this task is going to be. Okay, so in case this is not clear or you're not sure how to obtain these, let me just show you. Alright, so this is how the one map will look like. Okay, I like this personally because I find that I can see the different units quite clearly. Okay, and besides that, it does provide me with a lot of extra information if I'm keen. Okay, I can type my address and I can find out a bit more. Alright, so go and click around. You may be able to find some of these additional layers on top. You may be able to find this here to give you more information. Or if you're not familiar with this platform, you can continue to use your Google Maps. Nothing wrong with this. But my suggestion with Google Maps is that sometimes they may not draw out the entire building that clearly. Alright, so it may be helpful for you to go to the satellite view, and from there it gives you a clearer idea. So if I compare this part here and the normal map, I can't tell that there's nothing being built here actually. Yeah, so in that sense, I find that one map may be a little bit more accurate in this, because if I go to the same spot, okay, let me find the same spot. Pioneer, right? So let me find the same spot at Pioneer, near Pioneer MRT. Okay, if I zoom in, where were we just now? We were at 992. Let's find 992. Okay, 992 is somewhere around here, right? It doesn't exist yet currently, and if it's under construction, they will indicate that it's under construction. So I guess that's the value of walking around also, to understand what is in your neighborhood. Okay, and if you don't have time to take pictures, or you don't have the time to explore on foot, but you still want some pictures for reference, what you can do is you can use the Street View app. Okay, so the Street View function, if you click this, right, that means that everything that you want to explore, you go on to that location. It will show you a physical view of how it looks like at the moment. Okay, so on foot, if I were to walk around here, I can see that this whole component is still under construction. It gives me a good sensing of what's around my neighborhood. Okay, and if you find something that's helpful, meaningful for you, you can take a screenshot. like of this building. If I find that this building here, how I know what I'm looking at, I take a look at this side of the physical map. I know that I am currently facing the sports center, and if I want to take a picture of this sports center, I can move ahead. Okay, then I can just take a screenshot, for example. Okay, so once I am done with this, I can carry on by putting this onto a slide. Okay, the slide is available on your Google Classroom task. Follow the instructions so that you have that ready when you need to refer to it when you're drawing your map. Alright, I hope that this has been helpful. If you need any further help, please reach out so that I can assist you. Okay, I hope this has been helpful. Thank you.